Okay, so we've got the paintwork done, or pretty much initially done. So all the pre-shading and a bit of post-shading and all the bits and bobs that I wanted to achieve to give it a bit of a worn look is now done. I've also given it a quick coat of the Gauzy Agent Shine Enhancer. There you go. Just for deckling really. Just thought I'd give it a go. Seemed to go on quite nice. Got a nice sort of, I'd say satin finish, but it's very smooth, so that's okay. So yeah, next step I'm going to decal it up. So I'm not going to film decaling it. You've seen, you know, Phil decal how many times and stuff like that. So it's going to be the same principle. If anything crops up, I will stick the camera on, but otherwise I just think we'll just whack a few decals down. What I am going to try though, which I won't initially planning on, as you know, I'm actually going to try and use the original decals. I've had them in the window, just get a bit of sunlight on them, see if we can de-yellow them, which seems to have worked, I think. Can't really see any, and they don't look like they've broken up. If you catch them in the light, they don't look too bad. So I'll try one of the smaller ones, we'll see how it goes. If not, obviously I've got my backup of the older Kits World ones, which is obviously going to be this one now. So if it is that, then I'm obviously going to have to spray the top of the tail yellow, but again, that's not going to take much to do. So yeah, wish me luck, and we'll see how we get on with the original set of decals. And then you definitely can say this is a out the box build. Okay, so we've moved on a little bit. As we can see, the decals are now on and down. So these are the original kit decals. So they're obviously going to need blending in with the rest of the weathering and stuff, but you know, they are on and down. And actually they're not too bad. I had a bit of a sort of a silvering issue on these big numbers, but I managed to just sort of scrape the carrier film off, and there's a bit of touch up as well with a paintbrush. After, obviously, I've now built the turret as well, so that's together and unmasked. Alright, and that will just slot in after. Okay, that's going to look quite good. It's also been given a flat coat, which I've not done on this one, so what I'm going to do is just whip over to, as you can see, look, done a bit of glossing, and it has had a gloss coat just to seal these decals in. So I'm just going to whip this wing over, and then just go through the process of just a flat coating with the AK Ultra Matte Varnish. Nothing really complicated, but I thought I'd just show how it's done. And the only thing I've got left to do, which I will do on cam on the decals, is when I can get it in shot, is obviously the mouth teeth part here. All this insert is black. Okay, so that wants hand painting, obviously in black, or if you're building this kit, you could obviously pre-paint it and then put the decal on top. Also, I want to touch the decals in as well. There's obviously a bit of a gap there and a bit of white showing and a bit around, so I'm also going to brush paint sort of the lips back in over the teeth. And touch up a few other bits, because obviously in real life these would have been painted on by hand. So just think I'm just going to use this as a template and then paint over it. So yeah, coming along okay. Again, the fuselage is a flat coat, as you can see. It's pretty, well, not much of a shine at all. There's a few little bits, but yeah. So decals, all in all, went down alright. There's a couple of thick ones on the stencils, which weren't brilliant. And again, I've just kind of blended them in with a bit of the olive drab colour, just to tone them down a bit. Obviously these ones are a bit, but they'll get weathered in when we do the final bit of weathering. But yeah, to be honest, quite pleased with how this is sort of showing so far. We've not even really got into the main weathering. A lot of this is just with airbrushing, so coming along okay. Don't think any other parts have been done, so you know, after obviously this has had a flat coat, we can probably then slot the wings on properly. We can then get to final assembly and final weathering. So we'll take you over again, like I said, to the other spray booth. We'll get a flat coat on this wing, and then we can come back over here. Flat coat time. So Ultra Matte Varnish, gave it a good shake. Got these little Pyrex sort of dishes, which I like, so put a bit in there. Alright. I'm just going to add a drop of airbrush thinner, which is this is the Vallejo one, and I mean it is just a smidgen, nothing more than that. A couple of drops. Find one steering stick, give it a good whiz up. Put it underneath first. So I've got the Finger Bender 500, and there I go. I'll put a bit of that in there. Right, I've got really high pressure, just a bit of a test blow through my thing. Again, light coats. You instantly see this go flat. Right, we'll let that dry off. And if any other bits that we need to be flat, we'll just go back and touch in. But yeah, really good clear coat. Let's put that back in shot for you. There we go. Long to dry, so we'll just quickly flip this over. All right, and go again on the top. So again, nice even coats. Trick is just to let it dry, build it up in thin layers. Like I say, you will get a ultra flat finish. So I'll finish this off, we'll move back over to the bench, and then like I say, we'll go on with some of the final bits and bobs, final weathering, a couple of oil washers I think, and some pencils I think I'm going to use, and then like I say, the final assembly and get it complete. So it's now time to move on to the weathering part. So as you can see, flat coat's on, flat coat's gone down okay. So what we're going to do now is do a bit of post shading. Alright, so basically we've kind of got sort of a roadmap, if you want to call it that, of what we're going to post shade and where we're going to go with obviously the painting and all the other techniques that we did with the light and darkening. But what I am going to be using is these shaders from Ammo. I picked 3 of them up just to see how they work and what they were like. And to be honest with you, just in a little bit of a play, they're really quite good. So I think what they are is a kind of water-based ink. So they're just straight out these little dropper bottles straight into your airbrush and fire away really. So I've been, like I say, having a little practice, and I've done some work on this wing with them. So like I say, they're really thin, so they act as a nice filter. Loads of different colours you can choose from, but if you just want to build up dirt passes, like I've done it obviously around the flaps and around the engine cowls using a couple of the different, let's get it in shot for you, a couple of the different colours. So I think that one's the dirt one, and then the darker one is obviously the Starship Filth. And again, if you're not like sort of happy with the outcome, you can just wipe it off with water, or at least blend it anyway, which I think is quite a useful sort of trick to them. As in, obviously the traditional post shading, if you're going to go down the Tamiya route, would either be smoke or XF1 and XF 64 is it, the red brown. But again, it's kind of a one-way trip. If you mess that up, where this is actually quite forgiving, and plus because it is so thin, it's hard to overdo it first off. It goes on quite strong, but it does die back, as you will see when I demo it. So like I say, it's a steady build up rather than a one hit and then go, oh, I've just ruined that. So yeah, interesting sort of tool. So just the cheapo airbrush that I've been using for some reason. So we'll take the dirt because we'll do the underneath, so you can see how it goes down. All right, give it a good shake, give it a good wake up. You don't need a lot of it either, so don't go sort of overboard filling your airbrush, because it does obviously go a long way. So I've got, I don't know if you can see in there, let's see if I can get it on camera for you. Couple of drops and that's it really. Right, I've just barely sort of in the bottom. So again, pressure wise, you don't need a lot of it, but when you first put it down, they don't seem like there's a lot happening. But trust me, there is. You can just see it going down. Get in close as well. You don't need sort of high pressure. But if you want to make streaking stains or stuff like that, I mean, that's just sort of a first pass. I think you can probably see that on the camera. So again, if you want to just highlight, opening panels, access panels, or stuff where dirt and grime would get caught up and stuff, then and again, what it is good for is if you just want to put some dirty stains on your decals, just tone them down. It's good for that as well. So I do a lot of different colours from what I can see, different greens and browns and usual sort of colours that you get, but so yeah, you kind of get the idea of what I'm doing there. Again, no thinning required, just straight out the little dropper bottle and it'll go. Not really experienced any tip dry with it, especially at low pressure. So they've obviously added some sort of retarder or flow improver. To be honest, it's not something we sell at PM, but I think we'll see about getting these in stock, because like I say, it was, you never know if these things are a bit gimmicky, but this is definitely especially like me, if you're not brilliant at post shading, you know, build up the dirt would accumulate and some stains and So there we go. Just a quick demo there with the ammo shaders. Obviously going to do the other side now, so I'm going to move on. Obviously it's a darker colour, so I'll use onto the Starship Filth. And then we can go back and dig out the pencils and the oils, I think. And then we should be nearing completion. Okay, so we're coming to the end of this build. Okay, we're just coming up to going to be final assembly. So I've just whacked the undercarriage legs in and the gear doors, and I am going to just put a green sort of olive drab just to blend that in with how it would be when it's closed. So I've got to do that. Well, that's just going to be a 2-minute job. Gear's pretty sturdy, sits in. That's just had a quick oil wash with a bit of engine grease. So that's on. I have also added, as you can see, Bombay doors. Not putting any bombs in it yet. Obviously the front wheel's on now. The access sort of ladders, if you want to call it that. Okay, that one's going to need securing a bit better, but as you can get the gist, we're getting there with that. So what I'm going to just quickly demonstrate now is, if I carefully put that down, is like I said earlier about the decals. I've been going over it sort of with sort of different techniques really, just to blend them in and make them look painted on. And one I forgot, I did discover was the old AK pencils. Alright, so I'm going to grab a bit of water, and to be honest, you haven't even got to have a great brush, so I'll just use one of the old Italeri brushes. Grab his optivisor so you can see what he's doing. Right, so just wet the brush, you don't need it sort of soaking wet. Alright, and just brush it on the tip of said pencil. So you're just going to use it like normal paint, and then what you're going to do is just paint over the actual decal itself. And because these dry absolutely flat, they look brilliant. So just a little bit closer. Alright, they do dry quick, so you do have to sort of keep your pencil, or should I say brush, a bit damp, shall we say. Just a little bit of that. Don't get it too wet. Again, it does evaporate fast, so what you're going to do is just trace over the decal that's already down. Like so. Keep my head out of camera. Yeah, because these are old decals, they're not absolutely spot on, but with that simple technique, then you go nice bright painted on red. So I'll show you the front of that look. So I've gone and touched it in, obviously painted the black. That was just a bit of a Leo dark grey, to be honest. And the teeth. There you go. I've painted over here. I've just gone over the writing a little bit, but I've not gone any further than that with the dog and sort of the rest of her. Also, as you might have noticed, I've swapped these around. I've actually stuck them on the wrong way around when I built it. I didn't realise until I must have looked at a reference photo, and I seen I stuck them on literally upside down because obviously where the shells come out of are at the top. So luckily I didn't put an awful amount of glue on, so I managed just to flip them off, and I've swapped them around. So now instead of having 3 guns that you'll probably see in earlier videos, it's got all 4 guns now. So as for the weathering, I have to say I'm going to probably just add a little bit of dusting. I really like how their Mamo shaders have come out, and I don't think I really need to add to them, if I'm honest. You know, with the actual paintwork and the contrasting that, and then obviously putting down a bit of post shading, where I'm really happy where it's come out. Same with the tops of the wings as well. Look, I think it's really weathered enough, so I don't really want to go overboard. I've obviously painted inside where the landing lights are going to go, so I'm going to stick the clear parts on that. And also got the props done as well, and that's, again, they're just weathered down with the weathering pencils, which is the Dust and Rain Marks one. Again, you just kind of, as I've done there, just wet the end, you know, get a brush and just use it as paint. Because this is sort of reversible, or you can reactivate it, you can make all sorts of nice staining on it. So I think that's what I'm going to do just in between sort of the wing roots here. I was thinking of post shading, or perhaps with a bit of Tamiya that I've got mixed up a dusty colour. So obviously got to weather the doors in as well, because they are far too bright. But yeah, we are definitely getting there. So next job is to get the wings actually attached, so it can kind of at least attempt to stand on its own undercarriage. So we'll just, because it's such a good fit, we'll just slot them into place like so. I'll just pull the camera out so we can see. There we go. Everything moved out of the way. So, and however much nose weight I put in it, it's still a tail sitter. Still a tail sitter, so I'm gonna have to prop it up. Not great, but it is what it is. I thought I'd put enough in it. It did feel heavy, but this is just one of them that's a permanent tail sit. So I'll take this back door off because it was just super glued in place, and I'm going to actually permanently stick it in. So what I'm going to do is stick that just out the way. Wheels. Quick weathering tip on wheels. As you can see, the turret's done as well, so the turret can drop in there as well, like so. And really is coming together. I'm really pleased with it. Got a few little bits in here that need putting on in my little tray. But yes, so wheels. Again, these are really good. If you just want to do the same sort of technique, you can build that up, take it off and everything. Or the other way of doing it is, if I can get to them through my camera, is Phil's wash. So a little bit of kitchen towel. So what we're going to do is just give these a bit of a wake up, give them a bit of a shake. Get them going, and I'll find my steering stick, wherever that is. Just decant some into the palette. As well. Right, so I want a really light sort of grimy colour or dusty colour. I mean, you can obviously buy ready-made products which are out there. I'll take a bit of a brush. So what we're going to do is take a bit of grime and then take a bit of a light, and obviously you can mix these together and make a nice sort of light dusty colour. Alright, and then nothing more sort of hard than just dabbing it over the wheel. Alright, so this wheel's already oil wash as well, same as the undercarriage gear. Same thing, it's a bit of engine grime and a bit of sepia I think was mixed together. So let that flow into where we want it to go. We'll get some in the tread as well, but for these purposes we will. The trick is obviously to let it dry fully before removing it or reactivating it. So it looks a bit of a mess at the minute, but what we'll do is we'll let that dry. We'll get a bit of water or a damp cotton earbud, cotton bud, and sort of smear it around and remove it. So we're going to have a filthy tyre. Again, pigments is good for this as well. If you want to use dry pigments, they work. I quite like using Fuels Wash, so same sort of job. Good thing about weathering is you just got to smear it on. Get it in all them treads and it will just settle down. Again, if you're not happy, just let it dry and put some more on, or wipe it off. Again, I'm going for that sort of dusty feel because of where these were operating. Obviously makeshift airfields from islands, and you know, depending on what time of year it was, it could be a lot of rain and it could be muddy or dry and dusty. So yeah, alright, we'll let that dry off. We'll come back and then we'll start removing it. So we're at about 10 minutes and it's dried off. So now we're going to just take a dry earbud and also with your finger just manipulate the wash where you want it to go, what you want to take off, what you want to keep on. You can always just slightly just dampen it a little bit. Okay, nice sort of dusty effect. So you don't want to go heavy just wiping this around, so the other one. Then this cotton bud is to sort of go outwards as well. So obviously you've got the wheel rotating, so alright. Just want that just slight sheen of it's been used and dusty, so that will do for those. We'll get them on. And like I said, we'll just do a final fit up. So I think when we come back it will probably, like I say, be complete, and then we'll do some final touches and we'll call it done.